Okay, this is part 3 of our review. We are preparing for a test when we get back from winter break over direct objects and conjunctions. As part of our review with conjunctions, we're going through all of the parts of speech and we are remembering what those parts of speech are about and how they work, but also how to make them compound. Because when you have conjunctions, you're joining two words, phrases, or clauses. And in this case, we're going to join adjectives and adverbs. We're going to review adjectives and adverbs while we go over how conjunctions make compound adjectives and adverbs. We'll start with adjectives. Adjectives, as you remember, modify nouns and pronouns. Nouns, again, you have people, places, things, or ideas. And pronouns just take the place of nouns. So adjectives only describe people, places, things, or ideas. Adjectives only describe nouns or the pronouns that replace them. The questions that you can ask to test if the word is an adjective are questions like which one, what kind, how many, and whose. These questions work for adjectives because if you think of adjective as like a thing, there are questions like which thing, what kind of thing, how many things, whose thing. These questions go with nouns, right? So you need to memorize these questions. I think we memorized them early on, but a lot of people either didn't really memorize them or they've forgotten them, which means they weren't really memorized in the first place, right? Because when you memorize something, that means you remember it. So we still sometimes get adjectives and adverbs mixed up, and we need to really get this straight. So please make sure you memorize these questions and don't be surprised if I add them to our direct object and conjunctions quiz. Adjectives are diagrammed on slanted lines under the noun or pronoun they modify. So you only put adjectives under nouns. So all of those words that go under a word should be describing that word. So in the case of nouns, if the word is describing a noun and goes under it, it is an adjective. Here's an example. Here's our fish. You know, we're going to use fish swim as like our base sentence. Now our fish are happy. Happy fish swim. In this example, the word happy is telling you what kind of fish, right? So it's answering one of the adjective questions. Fish is a noun, fish is a thing. And so if happy is modifying a noun, that makes happy an adjective. So here's how you diagram that. You've got your subject and your verb, fish swim, and now we're going to put a slanted line under our noun and add our adjective. Simple. Let's look at compound now. Oh, just a reminder, the words the, a, and an, those are always adjectives. They're a special kind of adjective called an article. So anytime you see the, a, or an, it's going to be in front of a noun and they're adjectives. All right, now let's talk about compound adjectives. The silver and gold fireworks exploded. You've got fireworks doing the action of exploding. So fireworks is our subject and exploded is our noun, right? Now you have a compound adjective because you have silver and gold. You have a coordinating conjunction connecting two adjectives, giving you a compound adjective. We diagram those no different than we diagram any other adjective. Okay, so we'll start with the. I said in the previous slide, the is always an adjective. Which fireworks? The fireworks, right? So put the under fireworks, and silver is telling you about fireworks, and gold is telling you about fireworks. So silver and gold. Now we're going to diagram the coordinating conjunction like we diagram all coordinating conjunctions. We're going to add a dotted line between the two things the conjunction is connecting and put the conjunction on that dotted line. No big deal, right? All right, let's move on now to adverbs. We call this right here compound adjectives, but we're going to move on to adverbs now. Okay, now let's talk about adverbs. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. I think this is where some of us started to get confused back when we first learned this. One easy way to remember that adverbs modify verbs is that the word verbs is right in adverbs. So that's kind of a reminder. Adverbs modify verbs, and verbs are action words. They don't just modify verbs though, they also modify adjectives and other adverbs. So here are the questions. Adverbs answer these questions: when, where, why, how, and to what extent. And if you think about actions, These are questions you can ask about actions. When did the action happen? Where did the action happen? Why did the action happen? How did it happen? And to what extent did it happen? So these questions go with actions. That's how you can hopefully remember that they are adverb questions, because adverbs modify verbs and verbs are actions, right? So you know that diagramming adverbs goes on slanted lines under the words they modified, very much like adjectives, only adverbs are going to go under verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs, and they're never going to go under nouns because they don't modify nouns. Adjectives do, right? So let's look at an example. Happy fish swim slowly. We have our fish swimming again, okay? Now they're still happy, but now they swim slowly, okay? Slowly tells you how the fish swim. The word slowly is modifying a verb, so that makes slowly an adverb. So we're going to diagram it just like this. We have our subject and our verb, and then we draw a slanted line, and we put our happy under fish. We have a new slanted line, and slowly is going to go under swim. So happy, adjective, modifying a noun. Slowly, adverb, modifying a verb. Simple, right? Again, keep in mind when the sentences get more complicated, it doesn't really change from this. You still ask yourself the question, what is slowly telling me about? If it's telling me about a verb, then it's an adverb and it's going to go underneath that verb, right? So adverbs not only modify verbs, but they also do adjectives and adverbs. So let's look at what that looks like. Here we have our happy fish swimming slowly, right? But what if really happy fish swim very slowly, okay? Really and very are also adverbs. Really is telling you how happy are these fish. How happy are the fish? They're really happy. Since really is describing an adjective, we already know happy is an adjective because it's down here describing fish, right? Really is describing an adjective. It is an adverb because adverbs also describe adjectives. Here is very. It is also an adverb because it is telling you how slowly. How slowly did the fish swim? Very slowly, right? So this is an adverb modifying another adverb. And what does that look like on the diagram? We're going to put a new line under happy and add really because it's telling us how happy. We're going to put a new line under slowly and add very. So here is an example of a sentence that has 3 adverbs in it. One adverb really describing an adjective, one adverb very describing an adverb, and one adverb slowly describing a verb, okay? This one here is an adjective describing a noun. Make sense? If it doesn't, just rewind and play this again. And play it as many times as you need to play it. Pause it, rewind it as many times as you need to for this to make sense, okay? Here's another one. Here's our fireworks exploding, right? We have silver and gold. The silver and gold fireworks exploded. But what if we said the silver and gold fireworks exploded loudly and brilliantly, right? So we had compound adjectives with silver and gold. Now we have compound adverbs with loudly and brilliantly. How did they explode? Loudly. How did they explode? Brilliantly. Both of these words are telling you about exploded. Exploded is a verb. That's the action the fireworks are doing. And now we've got this compound adverb with a conjunction and connecting them. So no big deal. We're going to put loudly and brilliantly under exploded because they're adverbs describing how the fireworks exploded. And we're just going to add that dotted line and put our conjunction on it. Nothing too crazy, right? So there you have it. That's our review on adjectives and adverbs, including compound adjectives and compound adverbs. That should help you do the 3rd page in your homework packet. If you haven't already done it, you probably already have. But in case you haven't, you should do it now after you've watched this. If you did already do it and now you're afraid maybe you did a little bit of it wrong, you can go back and fix it, okay? And be looking for part 4 of the review videos.